Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a school project I have to do for an online class. I'm going to be discussing how the sacraments of First Communion and Reconciliation relate to a novel called Bless Me, Ultima by Rudolfo, Anaya. I decided to do this project on this topic because, like the book's main character Antonio, I also grew up in a Catholic family. My family may not be the most devoted like Antonio's is, but that's not what this video is going to be about. The point is, I do have some realm of knowledge when it comes to this topic. From what I've read so far in this book, Antonio is 7 years old and is destined to become a priest when he's an adult. According to the article, New Mexican Catholicism, children in second grade, so between the ages of 7 and 8, they participate in their First Communion or the Sacrament of Eucharist. This is when you receive the body and blood of Christ for the first time towards the end of Mass. Of course, the body and blood are represented by bread and wine. The Eucharist during Mass is a recreation of the Last Supper, where Jesus Christ shared his last meal before his crucifixion with his 12 disciples. According to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 26, verses 26 to 28, is always read by a priest or minister before communion is given. While they were eating, Jesus took bread, said the blessing, broke it, and giving it to his disciples, said, "Take and eat. This is my body." Then he took a cup, gave thanks, and gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which will be shed on behalf of many for the forgiveness of sins." Accepting the bread and wine means that you also accept a new spiritual life. Before going through this, however, those children must prepare by going through a process called reconciliation or confession. This is where you meet up with the head of your church, whether it's a priest, a minister, or a pastor. You confess all your sins you may have committed. I know this sounds pretty invasive, and that's kind of the point, but Catholics go through this to receive forgiveness. You can think of it as lifting a weight off your shoulders before starting a new chapter in your life. This is an important aspect of Anaya's book because Antonio is at the age when kids go through this and he is preparing himself. However, he's scared because he's witnessed his father and his buddies gun down Lupito towards the beginning of the book, and he's worried how this will affect what he says during confession when the time comes. A priest, I thought. That was her dream. I was to hold Mass on Sundays like Father Barnes did in the church in town. I was to hear the confessions of the silent people of the valley, and I was to administer the Holy Sacrament to them. "Perhaps," I said. "Yes," my mother smiled. She held me tenderly. The fragrance of her body was sweet. "But then," I whispered, "who will hear my confession?" "What?" "Nothing," I answered. I felt a cold sweat on my forehead, and I knew I had to run. I had to clear my head of the dream. This passage is before Lupito was killed, but in it we see that Antonio is nervous about having to go through confession. Throughout the book, there are also references of blood and water, as that symbolizes Antonio's innocence being corrupted after witnessing Lupito's murder. We were in silence for a long time, lost in memories that the murmur of the morning wind carried across the treetops. Cotton from the trees drifted lazily in the heavy air. The silence spoke, not with harsh sounds, but softly to the rhythm of our blood. "What is it?" I asked, for I was still afraid. "It is the presence of the river," Ultima answered. In this passage, he and Ultima were picking out plans for Ultima's medicines, and Antonio is scared of the presence of the river because he believed that means that Lupito's soul is near, haunting him. This blood and water reference in this way first appears on page 36 on the way to church. When we came to the bridge, my mother hurried the girls along, but my father paused to look over the railing. I looked too. What happened down there was like a dream, so far away. The brown waters of the river of the Carp wound their way southward to the orchards of my uncles. That's all I have for this video. I'm sorry it's different from what I usually upload, and I'm sorry if it sounded like I was just rambling on and on. All of the sources for this project will be in the description down below. Also, please remember to give this video a thumbs up and feel free to leave a comment. I'd also really appreciate it if you clicked the subscribe button if you haven't already, if you want to see more videos. See you next time!